On the morning of my wedding, I watched my best friend slip my engagement ring into her pocket like it belonged to her. I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I smiled so wide my cheeks hurt because I finally understood why my life had felt like it was being quietly rearranged behind my back. People think betrayal is loud, like slammed doors and shouting. Mine was soft, perfume sweet, done with manicured nails and a hug. And I decided right then, I wasn't going to lose my future to someone who treated my love like a souvenir. I'm Amber, and I used to believe some friendships were unbreakable, like the kind you see in old photos where two girls are stuck together at the hip, grinning like they share one heartbeat. That was me and Chloe. We met in 7th grade when she offered me half her cupcake because I'd forgotten lunch money. She had big, sparkling eyes and a way of talking that made every boring hallway feel like a movie set. Chloe didn't just become my friend, she became my mirror, my shadow, my person. When my mom started working double shifts and my dad disappeared into his own silence, Chloe was the one who sat beside me at lunch, kicking my chair lightly with her foot like, "Hey, breathe, I'm here." So when people say, "You should have seen it coming," I want to laugh, because what do you do when the person you trust most is also the person sharpening the knife? By the time we were 26, my life looked calm from the outside. I had a stable job at a small marketing firm, a cozy apartment with plants I somehow kept alive, and a fiancé named Ethan who felt like safety in human form. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't the loudest in a room, but he listened like he cared about the parts of you didn't even say out loud. And Chloe was still everywhere, laughing too loudly at my jokes, popping up with surprise brunches, calling me babe like we were still kids. She said she loved Ethan like a brother. That's what she said. The first time I noticed something was off, it was so small, it felt silly to even register. We were at a bar celebrating my promotion. Ethan had gone to the bathroom, and Chloe leaned in close, her lipstick glossy and her voice sweet. "You're lucky," she said. "You know that, right?" I smiled. "I do." Her eyes lingered on me like she was measuring something. "Just don't get comfortable. Men like Ethan, they get bored of nice eventually." I laughed. Because what else do you do when your best friend says something that tastes like sour milk? But later, when Ethan came back, Chloe touched his arm just for a second too long and said, "I'm so proud of you for loving her the way she deserves." It sounded supportive, it looked supportive, but my stomach tightened anyway, like my body knew something my brain wasn't ready to admit. After that, it was little things. Chloe texting Ethan directly instead of me. "Hey, what's Amber's ring size again?" Even though I'd already told her. Chloe showing up to our apartment unannounced with wine and a grin, wearing dresses that clung like a second skin, acting like it was totally normal to sit too close on the couch. One night, Ethan and I were cooking pasta, and Chloe walked in without knocking because she still had an old spare key from years ago. I froze, sauce spoon in my hand. "Chloe," I said, trying to sound casual. "You scared me," she pouted. "Oh my God, Amber, I'm not a burglar, I'm family." Ethan gave me a quick look, like he was waiting for me to say something. I didn't, because I didn't want to be the kind of woman who gets weird about her best friend. I didn't want to be insecure. I didn't want to be dramatic. Chloe poured herself a glass of wine, leaned against the counter, and watched Ethan stir the pasta. "You're going to make someone a perfect husband," she said softly. Ethan's hand paused. He smiled politely. "I hope I already am." Chloe laughed like he'd said something adorable, but her eyes didn't move away from his face. I felt like I was standing in my own kitchen watching someone try on my life. The worst part wasn't the flirting. It was the way she started planting seeds, teeny, poisonous ones between me and Ethan. If Ethan didn't answer my call fast enough, Chloe would say, "He's probably just busy, babe. Don't do that anxious thing." If Ethan and I disagreed about wedding details, Chloe would sigh dramatically and say, "Marriage is hard. Some people just aren't built for compromise." Once, after a small argument about budget, Chloe pulled me aside and whispered, "Are you sure he's not controlling? Sometimes quiet men are the worst kind." I stared at her, stunned. "Ethan has never controlled me, ever." She raised her hands like she was surrendering. "I'm just looking out for you. You know me. I'm the only one who tells you the truth." And that's how she did it, trapping her sabotage in concern, like she was gifting me a warning instead of pushing me off a cliff. 2 months before the wedding, my mom called me late at night. Her voice was careful. "Amber, honey, can I ask you something?" Of course. She hesitated. "Why did Chloe tell your Aunt Lisa that you and Ethan are having doubts?" I sat up so fast I got dizzy. What? She said you've been crying, that you're not sure you want to marry him. My mouth went dry. That's not true. My mom sighed, worried. I didn't think so, but people talk, baby. That's when I realized this wasn't just Chloe being clingy or dramatic. This was a plan, a slow burn. I confronted Chloe the next day at our favorite cafe. She arrived, wearing a white blouse and a smile like butter wouldn't melt. What did you tell my mom? I asked awed. She blinked. What? About me having doubts. Chloe's face pinched into offended innocence. Ember, I said you were stressed. Everyone knows brides get stressed. You told my aunt I've been crying about marrying Ethan. Her eyes flashed for half a second cold, annoyed before the warmth returned. I was trying to help. If you're not ready, you shouldn't do it. I am ready, I said, my voice shaking. And it's not your place. Chloe leaned forward, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. You're being defensive. That's a sign. I stared at her, and something inside me clicked. She wasn't confused. She wasn't misguided. She was pleased, like she enjoyed watching me scramble. I left that cafe with my hands trembling and a knot in my throat that wouldn't loosen. That night, Ethan found me folding napkins too aggressively at the kitchen table. He knelt beside me. Hey, what's going on? I wanted to dump everything out, every weird comment, every suspicious glance, but I was embarrassed. What kind of woman suspects her best friend of trying to steal her feet? That sounded like a bad soap opera. So I said, I think Chloe's been stirring things. Ethan's expression tightened instantly. I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to hurt you. My heart sank. Bring what up? He took a breath. She texts me a lot. Not about wedding stuff. About you. About my feelings. She asks weird questions. And last week, she invited me to coffee to talk about you. I said no. My cheeks burned with humiliation and anger. Why didn't you tell me? Because I know she's been your best friend forever, he said gently. And I didn't want to be the reason you lost her. That sentence, I didn't want to be the reason, was so tender it made my eyes sting. I realized then Ethan wasn't my problem, Chloe was. But instead of exploding, I got quiet. Because here's the thing about women who've been underestimated their whole lives. We learn to survive by observing. We learn that rage can be useful, but patience can be sharper. So I started paying attention. I watched Chloe around other people, not just Ethan, everyone. The way she'd compliment a woman's dress, and then, 2 minutes later, say, it's cute. But I could never pull that off with my body. The way she'd post supportive captions online but whisper cruel things in private. Chloe didn't want love. She wanted winning. And the wedding was her game. The week of the wedding, Chloe insisted on staying with me the night before, like a proper maid of honor. She brought a suitcase full of hair products and a bottle of champagne. She acted giddy, hugging me too tightly, calling me her soulmate. I smiled. I played along. And I made one quiet decision. I wasn't going to stop her. I was going to let her reveal herself. On the morning of the wedding, the bridal suite smelled like roses and hairspray. My mom cried in the corner. My bridesmaids fluttered around like nervous birds. Chloe stood near the mirror, wearing a satin robe that looked suspiciously expensive. I can't believe this is happening, she squealed. My best friend is getting married. Then she hugged me, her cheek pressed against mine, and whispered, you're welcome. I pulled back. For what? She laughed lightly, as if I'd missed a joke. For helping you get here. A chill rolled down my spine. A few minutes later, while everyone was distracted by curling irons and mascara, I saw it that my engagement ring temporarily off my finger because the makeup artist insisted was sitting in a little velvet box on the table. Chloe walked by. Her hand drifted. The box disappeared into her robe pocket like it was a magic trick. I didn't gasp. I didn't shout. My body went cold, then strangely calm. That was the moment in my cold open. The moment my world made sense. Chloe wasn't just flirting or meddling. She was stealing. I stepped into the bathroom and locked the door, gripping the sink. I stared at my reflection, my face half done, my eyes wide, my mouth trembling, and then I whispered, okay? Not okay like I accepted it. Okay like I finally knew what to do. My phone was in my hand before my brain finished forming the thought. I texted Ethan. She took the ring. Don't confront yet. Trust me. He replied instantly. Are you serious? Yes, we end it today. Then I texted my cousin Megan, who was good with details and bad with secrets. Megan, who was good with details and bad with secrets. I need you to do exactly what I say. Meet me by the florist in 5. When I walked back into the suite, Chloe was humming while adjusting her hair. I forced my voice to stay light. Has anyone seen the ring box? I asked, just loud enough for the room. Bridesmaids paused. My mom looked up. Chloe's eyes flickered, barely noticeable. She smiled. Maybe it fell behind the table. We all searched. I even dropped to my knees, pretending to look under chairs while my heart pounded so hard it felt like it might crack my ribs. Then Megan walked in, pretending she'd just arrived. She announced brightly, "Amber, the photographer wants a quick shot of your ring in the box before you put it on." "Where is it?" Chloe's face tightened. I sighed dramatically. "It's missing. I'm going to cry." Chloe stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Amber, breathe. It'll turn up." Megan tilted her head innocently. "Weird. There are cameras in the hallway, right? The venue has security." I watched Chloe swallow. I did not accuse her. Not yet. Instead, I smiled weakly and said, "It's okay. I'll just use the spare ring I bought for traveling." Chloe blinked. "You have a spare ring?" "Yeah," I said, and let my eyes water on purpose, because losing it was my biggest fear. "Funny, right?" Chloe's jaw clenched for half a second. Not empathy. Then she hugged me again, too tight, and whispered, "You're so smart." What she didn't know was that while she was busy congratulating herself, Megan was doing her part. You see, Megan worked at a small event company and had one important skill. She understood how to place people and timing like chess pieces. She stepped into the hallway and casually told the venue coordinator that a valuable item was missing. The coordinator, already nervous about liability, immediately checked the security monitor. And there it was. Chloe, slipping her hand into the ring box area. Chloe adjusting her robe pocket afterward. Chloe smiling. Evidence doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's just a video of someone being exactly who they are. Megan texted me. Got it? Clear as day. My hand stopped shaking. Now, I had choices. I could cancel the wedding and cry into my dress while Chloe played the victim, or I could walk down that aisle, hold my head high, and make sure everyone saw the truth. I chose the second, because Chloe didn't just try to steal my ring, she tried to steal my story. The ceremony started on time, the music swelled, the doors opened, and I walked down the aisle like a woman who had already survived what was supposed to break her. Ethan's eyes met mine, and I saw its worry, love, and something fierce underneath. He knew Chloe stood at the front as maid of honor, hands clasped, face glowing with fake pride, but her eyes kept darting, checking the room like a thief in a jewelry store. When the officiant asked for the rings, I watched Chloe's lips curl slightly, like she expected chaos, like she expected me to crumble. Instead, Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out my ring. Chloe's smile froze, because while Chloe thought she'd won, Ethan had quietly intercepted her plan. Earlier, when I texted him, he'd walked straight to the venue coordinator, who, now aware of the camera footage, asked Chloe to step aside for a quick check. She'd panicked and tried to hand the ring off to a purse in the bridal suite, but Ethan was already there. Calmly, politely, he said, "Chloe, give it to me." And according to Megan, Chloe had laughed and replied, "You can't prove anything." But the camera could. Now Ethan slid the ring onto my finger, and the crowd sighed happily, unaware of the storm still waiting. We finished the vows, we kissed, people clapped and cried. Chloe clapped too, robotic like her hands didn't want to cooperate with her lies. Then came the reception. I waited until dinner was served, until people were comfortable and smiling, until Chloe had a glass of champagne in her hand and that smug glow in her eyes. Then I took the microphone. The DJ lowered the music. Faces turned toward me. Ethan stood beside me, his hand warm on my back. I smiled at the crowd. "I want to thank everyone for being here," I began, voice steady. "This day means a lot to me, not just because I'm marrying Ethan." I paused, letting the room lean in, but because today I learned something important about love and loyalty. Chloe's smile tightened. I nodded toward the venue coordinator, who rolled a small screen into place, something usually used for photo slideshows. Chloe's eyes widened slightly. "Amber, what is this?" I kept smiling, sweet as sugar. "A little truth." The coordinator hit play. The room watched Chloe on video, stealing my ring. There was a beat of silence so heavy it felt like the air turned to stone. Then someone gasped. My aunt whispered, "Oh my God." My mom's hand flew to her mouth. Chloe's face drained of color. She stepped forward, laughing nervously. This is insane. It's out of context." I tilted my head. Out of context. Her voice rose. I was moving it. I was protecting it. I let the words hang. Then I said calmly, Chloe, you also told my family I had doubts about marrying Ethan. You also texted Ethan behind my back. You also said, men like him get bored of nice, eventually. Chloe's eyes flashed with rage. You're humiliating me. I nodded slowly. Yes. The room was dead quiet. I continued, voice soft but sharp, because you tried to humiliate me privately. You wanted me confused, isolated, second-guessing myself. You wanted my wedding to fall apart so you could stand in the wreckage and call it an accident. Chloe's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I looked at her really, looked at her, and I felt something surprising. Not hatred, not even triumph, just relief. Ethan's voice cut in, calm and steady. Chloe, leave. Chloe whipped toward him. You're choosing her over me. The audacity of that sentence made a few people actually laugh. Shocked bursts. Ethan didn't flinch. I'm choosing reality. Chloe's eyes darted around the room, searching for an ally, but the faces looking back at her weren't sympathetic. They were disappointed, angry, disgusted. That's the thing about someone who thrives in secrecy. When the lights come on, they don't know how to survive. Chloe's chin trembled. For a second, I thought she might cry. Instead, she hissed, you think you've won? I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. No, I think I've stopped losing. Then I turned back to the microphone. I'm sorry to everyone for the heavy moment, I said, and my voice softened again, but I won't start my marriage with a lie sitting at my table. The coordinator escorted Chloe out as she fought it until my cousin Megan stepped in her path and said, loudly enough for half the room to hear, don't touch anything on the way out. That broke the tension. People exhaled. Someone clapped into it at first. Then more joined in, not because they enjoyed drama, but because they recognized something, a boundary being drawn. After Chloe left, I expected to feel shaky. I expected regret. Instead, I felt strangely light, like I'd been carrying a weight for years and didn't realize it until it was gone. Later that night, after the dancing and the cake and the quiet moments of people hugging me and saying, I'm so sorry, Ethan and I stepped outside into the cool air behind the venue. The sky was dark velvet. The fairy lights around the patio flickered softly. Ethan took my hands. Are you okay? I nodded. I think I'm free. He kissed my knuckles. I'm sorry it happened at all. I swallowed. I'm not anymore. He looked at me, confused. I said, if it didn't happen today, it would have happened later. Chloe would have kept taking pieces of my life until I didn't recognize it. Today, she showed everyone who she really is, and I got to choose myself. Ethan pulled me into his arms, and for the first time in months, my body truly relaxed. The next morning, my phone was full of messages, some from relatives, some from friends. No one defended Chloe, not one. Chloe, however, sent me a single text. You ruined me. I hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back, you ruined yourself. I just stopped covering for you. I blocked her, and that was the real revenge, not the video, not the public reveal, not the humiliation. The real revenge was choosing a life where she no longer had access to my heart. Months later, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Chloe told people I was jealous and crazy, that I set her up, that I always wanted to be the victim. And maybe, once upon a time, those lies would have made me spiral, but now, they sounded like what they were, a person refusing accountability, because a woman who tells the truth doesn't need to scream it. She just needs to stop lying for someone else. And if you're listening to this and you've ever felt that creeping doubt like someone close to you is smiling while quietly tearing your life apart, I want you to hear me. Your gut is not paranoia, your boundaries are not cruelty, and walking away from betrayal is not weakness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let someone show their true face, and then never give them your time again. If this story hit home, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, take a second to like this video, subscribe for more long-form storytelling, and tell me in the comments, have you ever had to cut off someone who was secretly competing with you? Your story might help someone else feel less alone.